It's Saturday, January 17th, 2026. I'm meteorologist Brian Shields. The weekend storm system starting to wind up. You can see it right here over the next few days. A really fine line between rain and snow, but also snow and nothing at all. As we know, we've had those big misses. I want to cover that. The city by city rain totals specifically in this video. You need to know what you're going to get or not get, and that's what Matt and I cover on this channel on Snow Bros. We'll put out additional updates. We've got this system moving in. If you're subscribed, you'll get those additional updates as we go forward. You'll get those notifications. We've got you covered. Let me zoom down right here. This is by tomorrow evening. This is Sunday at 6 p.m. Just to give you a feel, I mentioned that fine line. So the Cape and the Islands, you get back toward Boston, Worcester, Southborough, Hartford over toward Manchester, swinging back toward New Haven and Bridgeport on the edge of the snow. It should clip by New York. I'll show you the city by city totals, but here's that snow. But this gives you a handle on these tricky systems. We know how they go. We've had big misses over the last few years. This one, either way, even if it's not a miss for some of us, the snow won't last too terribly long. That'll limit some totals, but some spots will get more than others. But you see the fine line, Albany, north and back toward the west, not a whole lot. So this just kind of gives us a feel in the short term. But the European and the American model have really come together. And if anything, the European model is more like the American model. It's kind of switched. Usually the European models, well, sometimes does a little bit better. It looks like the American model has kind of been holding. You can see the center of this area, so to speak, sitting here, throwing back that snow. So a lot of us will be getting clipped by this system. Others a little bit more significant. We always keep it in perspective on this channel. We just want to give you the information. South side of this as well. I'll put out an additional video on this, that southern snow. As I mentioned, look how it's holding. This is exactly what Matt and I have been talking about the last few days. Southern end, just on the backside, as the energy lifts up toward the northeast, as it lifts up toward New England and the mid-Atlantic backside, we could get that turnover to snow. Tallahassee, for example. That gives you a feel of how cold the weather is back behind this, sweeping all the way down to the south. Now, let's take you forward. What I want to do is start a little bit wide, then I want to zoom down, then the city by city snow totals very specifically. You can see this little piece here moving by. That's kind of a first piece of energy. We talked about that over the last few days. Here's the major player. This here is by tomorrow morning, and you see some of the snow. Fairfax right on the edge of it, Loudoun County, back through DC, Townsend over toward Baltimore, Annapolis, getting some of the snow back through Delmarva, Salisbury seeing the snow, Ocean City, Maryland, Ocean City, New Jersey, seeing that snow right in through here, but then it lifts through the afternoon, the Cape and the Islands, but then the system will lift a little bit more to the north. That could wrap in some of the snow back toward Hartford, watching over toward Worcester as we get deeper into our Sunday. This is by Sunday evening. The heaviest stuff sitting over here. If this was a little bit more over here, that could bring more of a significant snow. But you see it right back through here, watching southern sections of New Hampshire, coastal sections of Maine, and then swinging back toward Nova Scotia, where it may stay snow even longer. And then it pivots its way on Monday up through Newfoundland, where it will start as snow, could turn to rain, and then finish as snow for the Atlantic region of Canada. We got you covered as well on this channel. We're not leaving anyone out. This will lift through as we work our way into Monday. And then we're going to see another quick moving system through the Great Lakes. So we'll be watching that as we work our way into next week. Here's a zoomed in look. Get through Portland, Boston, Hartford, New York, back through Philly, swinging back toward Baltimore, and over toward DC, over toward Dover. So this here's by tomorrow morning, right? There's your time frame, 6 in the morning. We could start to see a few snow showers around New York, back through Uniondale, as we swing back toward the eastern end of Long Island, looking to be rain to start. But you see on the edge of that rain, even over toward Lancaster, some of the rain. Philly still seeing, or snow rather, still seeing some of that snow back through DC right in here. But you see by tomorrow midday, it may start to clip the Cape and Islands. Could start as some rain actually, and in Nantucket. But as it starts to work its way to the north and east, by the time we get in tomorrow, that's when we'll see some of that snow on the edge of Philly, back through New Jersey, especially the shore, over toward Long Island, right up through Hartford and Boston. But even if this is snow, it's not a long-lasting snow. That's why I don't have huge concerns for significant travel impacts. It'll be a small window of significant travel impacts, just not long-lasting. Then by tomorrow evening, this is where it will be a little bit heavier. You get toward Falmouth, over toward Bourne, some significant snow, working our way back toward Boston. Again, not the biggest snow, keeping it in perspective, but but we'll see some of that snow as we work our way into Sunday night. And then by Monday morning, already offshore, and mainly already offshore of Maine as well, pulling out of New Hampshire. So that'll quickly wind down. And that's why I mentioned, even if we get the snow, totals don't look super high. So let me take you around with some of these snow totals. This is a version of the European model. Seems to have a best handle on what's happening with the snow and the potential of snow. I'll zoom down in a moment, but just to give you a feel of some of these totals so you can pick a spot on the map very specifically to let you know what you may get as far as some of the snow. I mentioned Nova Scotia could start as snow and end as snow. So you get over toward Halifax, for example, 27 centimeters of some snow possible. Parts of New England, we're looking at about 2 to 3 inches of rain. DC, it's kind of some backside stuff. So let's start south, kind of work our way north here with these snow totals of potential. If you get toward Arlington, Alexandria, maybe 1.5 inches, right? That's a possibility, just depending on how this shakes out. Annapolis, 1 to about 2 inches. Baltimore, maybe 1 inch. So you get over toward DC, maybe 1 inch or 2. Just see how it shakes out. Not a high concern either way. It'd be nice to actually for some of us to get a little bit of snow. Dover, maybe 1 inch. And then as we work our way to the north to give you that feel specifically, get over toward Trenton, Philly. Philly, we're looking at about 1.5. Allentown could be a little bit more. Scranton, not a lot, but we could get some of those. It's going to be cold, as we know. It's supposed to be cold. It's winter. We got a system moving by. Watching out for a little icing as you get over toward Dunmore and Scranton. And then we lift our way toward Albany. Maybe just kind of residual effects of this system around maybe 1 inch or so possible. But New York City right now, painting in about 2.5 inches of some snow. The European model is showing that. So we're going to be on the edge of it across New York City. That could cause some bigger issues. Getting a couple inches. Again, nothing crazy, but a couple inches of snow possible. Then we swing back toward Bridgeport, New Haven, Waterbury. We could push 3 inches. If this lifts up and kind of orients itself as it is now, there could be that band of a little bit heavier snow. Worcester, back towards Springfield, 2 to maybe 4 inches of rain, and that may clip by Pittsfield and then back through Waterbury as well. Then we swing here as we get toward Augusta, about 3.5 inches of some of that snow. So watching coastal sections of Maine, back through New Hampshire. This is where it'll be a little bit higher. Newfoundland, you see some of these totals in here, 20 to about 30. Could be a little bit higher than 30 centimeters in parts of the Atlantic region of Canada. And then a little blue on the map down through here. I don't expect any big accumulations, but Georgia, and then again, even back through the Carolinas, North Carolina in particular, we could see that change over Raleigh and then swinging off toward the east of a bit of that snow. But just seeing this very unusual, painted in with some of that snow potential, even down toward the panhandle of Florida. I mentioned that turnover of some snow as we swing our way back through Jacksonville. So complex system, they always are. A very interesting system, no doubt, to see exactly how this all shakes out. So this system is forming that quicker shot of snow and rain. And that's why I mentioned, even in New York, if we get some of those higher totals, the system doesn't last too terribly long. So it wouldn't be a surprise if it gets as high as 4 inches of snow. Also wouldn't be a surprise if it's just 1 inch. So there is that discrepancy, but we're not looking at anything that's going to give us a surprise of a foot of snow, for example, in some locations. But we will see a solid snow in some spots. Cape and the Islands could be a little bit more even than that model data. Matt and I don't just rely on the model data. We're going to see how all of this shakes out. But that fine line, I-95 between the rain, snow, and even no snow. But on the backside, that southern snow, I mentioned North Carolina, could see a little accumulation. Raleigh off toward the east, and then back toward Florida, where we could even see some snow back into North Florida. So updates to come. Thank you for subscribing, being part of this channel, sharing it with your friends and family. Matt and I got you covered right here on Snow Bros. Have a good rest of your day.